So, it's the end of yet another week, and here on this channel that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week, the starters for the All-Star game were announced, featuring a pretty wild surprise. We got more dominant MVP-level production from the frontrunners for the award, and the standings have shifted a good bit, at least in the Eastern Conference, so of course, we have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now. So if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, I want to thank Prizepix for sponsoring this video. Prizepix is the perfect service for all of us basketball fans here, because when you're involved, it makes watching games every night so much more fun and engaging. Basically, it's an application that provides you with lines on all kinds of individual player props, such as points, rebounds, and assists and three-pointers made, and you simply have to choose whether you believe they will record over the set amount in the line or under the set amount in the line. Make your selections, wager however much you want to, and if your picks hit, you can win some big money. For some picks I'm looking at making in today's slate of games, I'm thinking of going with Zach LaVine to score over 24.5 points, Nikola Jokic to score over 25.5 points, and Bobby Portis to grab over 8.5 rebounds. If this sounds at all intriguing to you, then use the link down in the description of the video to sign up today, and use promo code REFERENCE to receive a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100. Once again, thank you to Prizepix for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into the topic at hand. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from KidPresident, and he says that Russell Westbrook would instantly flourish the moment he leaves the Lakers. So, against the Charlotte Hornets this week, the Lakers were missing both LeBron James and Anthony Davis, leaving Russ to take them on with the subpar core that the Lakers currently have. The odds were stacked heavily against the Lakers this game, obviously, but after a pretty poor first half, Westbrook really turned things up a notch in the second half, scoring 30 points in that half, keeping the game close down the wire. Westbrook did miss a potential game-winning shot in the end, but it's hard to hold that against him when he single-handedly kept them in the game. And this game pretty much represents everything there is to know about the Russell Westbrook conundrum. Westbrook just simply isn't built to be an off-ball player in the third option role like he's being used on the Lakers. The team brought him in this offseason hoping that he could become a third part of a big three alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but the fact of the matter is that his skill set and LeBron's skill set clash a little bit, and when they're both on the court at the same time, it's hard to get the best out of each of them because of their need to have the ball in each of their hands. On the flip side though, Russell Westbrook is definitely still capable of producing at a high level when he has that green light to run the show and attack at will, but his erratic play and track record over the years shows that when he's in that position, it more than likely won't result in title contention. Unfortunately, the Lakers will struggle to contend with Westbrook in the role that he's in with them, and moving Westbrook to a team that can give him a bigger role will minimize Westbrook's window to potentially win a championship, but at least he'll be able to go back to playing his best. The next take we'll be discussing comes to us from Hawes, and he says that the injury Klay Thompson is returning from will limit what he can be moving forward, making him more like what Gordon Hayward was after coming back from his serious injury. To put this into perspective, before Gordon Hayward broke his leg in his debut with the Celtics a few years ago, he was an all-star leading the Utah Jazz. Injuries are always super unfortunate, especially when they hamper a talented player's career, but to be honest, this comparison really shouldn't be viewed as a bad thing at all, because from the way I see it, Hayward is still a pretty solid player in the league, even though he's not an all-star caliber guy anymore like he used to be. Klay Thompson's all-star days very well could be over, but that shouldn't be met with sadness and a glass-half-empty attitude, because when you're a shooter like he is, that skill set will always make you valuable. In the 9 games that he's played since his return, he hasn't shot it that great, making just 35% of his threes, which is well below what we've grown accustomed to seeing from him, but I have zero doubt that his efficiency will improve over time, just like Hayward's did when he came back. Keep in mind that Hayward shot 40% from 3 last season while scoring about 20 points per game, and this year he's once again making about 40% of his threes while scoring about 17 points per game, and that's the kind of production that Klay could still easily replicate. I actually love this comparison because it offers a good amount of optimism about what Klay can be moving forward without expecting him to unrealistically replicate what he used to be. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Mark, and he says that Andrew Wiggins being named an all-star starter should be an eye-opener for the NBA to change their selection system. I don't know if the positioning is what needs to be changed like Mark suggests there, but I absolutely agree that something needs to change. The fan vote having a major say in the all-star selection process is good in theory, until you actually think about all of the flaws with it. On social media, it's easy to stack the voting in favor of someone just because they think it's funny. We've seen examples of votes being botted, meaning that people pay for bot accounts to send thousands of votes on someone's behalf, and it turns into a popularity contest instead of rewarding the most deserving players. Hell, we even saw Zaza Pachulia almost make an all-star game recently because of this very system. Andrew Wiggins is having a very good year, no one is disputing that, but he is not the third best forward in the Western Conference, nor is he anywhere close to it. To put it into perspective, he and Grizzlies forward Desmond Bane pretty much have identical production across the board, while Bane has actually been the better shooter, and yet there was zero buzz for Bane to be named an all-star while Wiggins is starting in the game. Again, Wiggins has been great in his role, but he's not even the best forward on his team. That would be Draymond Green, so this selection is just baffling. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Ryan, and he says that the Grizzlies still need another star player to be a legit title contender. So clearly the Grizzlies' aspirations have soared to new heights, with them forcing their way into contention this season, and deservedly so. But even if they aren't ready to win a title right now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because of the timeline that they're on. But even with that being said, the Western Conference is not at all as strong as it used to be, and with the Grizzlies currently sitting in 3rd place in the West standings right now, they're very much a formidable contender. Sure, both the Suns and the Warriors are in a tier of their own at the top of the conference, but the Grizzlies are much more balanced than people give them credit for. Ja Morant is playing at a level that has him getting MVP buzz, Desmond Bane is a prime candidate for most improved player and becoming a legitimate number 2 option instead of just being a spot-up shooter, Jaren Jackson Jr. provides defensive versatility, floor spacing, and pick-and-roll prowess, their bench is very deep, and Dillon Brooks hasn't even been healthy for most of the season yet. Another star definitely would put them in that next tier, but if I were them, I wouldn't trade anything of value away right now to acquire one, because there will be opportunities to do that for less expensive prices down the line, and right now, they're building something special in that locker room. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes we discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.